even know what her relationship with her father was, because when they talk about her parentage, her father doesn't come up much. They always talk about her mother, who is who is Indian or Asian, or what they call Asian.
Asian.
So now the Indians have become Asian now, even though they've been Asian for a long time. But when they say Asian, they always mean Chinese people.
Right, correct.
So I think this is why Kamala is trying to kind of, like I said, it's not really organic in regards to her being, her trying to prove to people, especially when she was running for president, that she's black.
I was about to say, I have a problem with some.
I don't, but I like how you explain that, because I think that is the argument there. Is Jamaican lineage from Americans, and that's what I say. Is it not that she's black? I misspoke. Is she African American?
Exactly.
That's the conversation.
That's the conversation.
That's the difference, and it's very confusing. So that's why I said I like the way that you explain it. So thank you. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. So what I was gonna ask is, when they're asking you about being black, Gardis, what do they ask? Do they ask you what kind of black are you, or do they just consider you black?
Well, see, that's the whole thing. They have to explain that, because if you're talking about being black, obviously, majority of the world is black or non-white, at least.
Okay.
When you're talking about minority, they always call us a minority in this country.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're talking about the world population, there's more non-white people than white people in this world.
It's happening to America too.
And then America is browning big time. Then they say about 2050, white people are going to be the minority numerically.
Yep. And that's what the white nationalism is.
But
about.
The thing is that you got to ask who's asking the question.
So when you go to interview for a job, do they say, are you this kind of black, that kind of black?
That's different.
No,
that's the same argument.
Because this is a job she's running for. Are you black, or do you get to be, or do we go down into your lineage to see where you come from, to see if you qualify? Where's your birth certificate? Where's this? Where's that? To qualify your blackness.
Well, here's the thing. I filled out many job applications.
Mm-hmm.
The ethnic race question gets very convoluted because everybody has a different. Everybody has a different set of questions.
Correct.
Sometimes you'll have check off black, check off white,
mixed,
and then mixed,
yeah.
or Caribbean, or Hispanic, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Some applications just have black, white, and Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
They just have 3. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, it's all depending on who's asking this.
So if a white man walked up to you and asked you, are you black? You consider yourself black?
Well, he doesn't have to ask me. He could just see.
Right. And I said it again. Hold on. But this is what I'm saying. You're still saying the same argument of black is black skin color, where we're talking about African American lineage. It's still 2 different conversations.
But they're still a part of the lineage and the history too, because they were slaves. There were slaves from Jamaica too.
And I know
that's what I'm saying. But
that's what I'm saying. When you're talking about, when I said who's asking the question, a white man doesn't have to ask me, am I black? He already sees, or she already sees, I'm black. She doesn't have to ask that question.
Why are we trying to split hairs in her? I don't understand why we're trying to split hairs in her nationality just because her father is from Jamaica. I don't understand why we're trying to split hairs.
It's because of us. It's because of us African Americans who basically want to see how she relates to us.
But she went to school at an HBCU.
I understand that.
She was in Canada.
But there's a lot of white people.
Right?
There's a lot of white people.
She did a couple years in high school in Canada, but she was born in Oakland. So.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying.
But that's the next topic of her. Here we are, part 2 of the birtherism. And this is the one thing that gets, because I don't like to throw out everything as racist. That's a personal choice, but I don't think every single thing is racist. But this one kind of caught me off guard, as here we are again at birtherism, mm-hmm. which the only other time we've seen it was with Barack Obama, mm-hmm. or the only other time that you see it is with Rashida Tlaib,
yep.
or the other girl that wears the thing on her head that I'm not sure what her name is. Omar, Omar. You only hear that Judge Janine Pirro was saying that she is everything against America, and America's actually the enemy of her religion. All kind of crazy things. Mm-hmm. But it's when you get to the highest spot, or the second highest spot in the land, the question is, you're that dirty immigrant. where we have a president who, I mean, you talk about the scare is her parents were immigrants, but she's an American.
Correct.
Where you have the first son's parent is an immigrant.
Correct.
Mhm.
What is the scare? So this is what I'm trying to say. I just want people just to be pay a little bit more attention to who is trying to put the fear into those dirty, dark-skinned people, or those dirty. If it's not white, it's not right. And that's never really. My message is never really that. But this is the second time where you have a woman, and I think it was Newsweek put out an article of she wasn't born here. Or if she was born on a military base, she's not an American citizen. She was born in Oakland in a hospital. Like, I'm just trying to understand. Like, I just want
born on a military base that's in the United States, you're not American.
I guess the boat was getting ready to take off.
What concerns me is black people getting into this conversation about her lineage. All right, and my problem is this, because it kind of segues into the topic of reparations. All right. So when you're talking about, when you have a certain set of black people, and you probably know about the ADOS movement, right? So if you're not ADOS, then you don't deserve reparations like we do.
I think we talked about it before. I'm kind of on the fence about that, only because it's hard for me to place it. Only because everybody that's not historically a family member or descendant of a slave, some of those people still suffer the same familiarity of struggling in communities.
And I get that.
I struggle. It's not an easy answer for me.
And I'm with you because of the fact that because I suffer differently from you, then that means that my suffrage is more important than yours.
Yep.
But we don't have that internationalism or that eye to see that, hey, y'all been through some stuff as well.
Right.
Maybe not like ours. And then if you look at the topic of immigrants, especially when you're talking, when I talk to these pro-black people who is against immigration, I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Marcus Garvey was Jamaican.
But
Stokely Carmichael had Jamaican.
When you talk about immigration, though, this is for anyone of any race at any time, of any person of anywhere. Your people came from somewhere.
I know that.
Well, I'm not saying it towards you, but I'm just saying when you
here.
say black people extremists against immigrant, it's just such a lot of stuff in politics is such a issue that we're tricked into make it an issue. If you remember, in the 80s, Democrats were against immigration.
Yeah.
Republicans were for immigration.
Yes, they were.
And then it goes, you go up 10 years, and now Republicans, hey, how dare you, this and that. But you always see flags around people's houses. I'm Italian American. You always see flags around the house. We're from Canada and we moved over here. And it's always my history of the homeland.
Yep.
But I don't, and it's going off the topic, but I just don't like it when people are against. I'm for legal immigration. I'm against illegal immigration, but it's a system that I've said it a time before, I'll say it again, that it needs to be updated. I think that there are certain gears in the system that make it so that it's not updated. Even if you look at now, we can set up a Chick-fil-A, I can go get a chicken sandwich right now. They've set that up for social distancing. Meanwhile, you can't get a driver's license.
Yep.
And it blows my mind. And there's not enough privatization to make it so that it's okay. Because now if you privatize something, now it's going to cost me more to go get a driver's license because that same system that they did over here, if Amazon picks up DMVs, I guess is what they want. If Amazon picks up DMVs, it'll be $75, but you'll get in and out in 5 minutes. So it's the battle of capitalism, and the government should do the bare minimum efficiently, and government fails every single day. But what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Well,
back to reparations. I'm sorry.
That was a roundabout way to go back to reparations.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
for the post office.
But see, that's one of the biggest conversations that's happening with with black folks, because of the fact that when they talk about reparations, they're talking about us as descendants of slaves getting these reparations. But then you get a small amount of black immigrants, whether they be from the continent, whether they be from the Caribbeans, who come in here, make these statements about us, calling us lazy, you know. And I know you probably heard about Akon and his comments about, you know, we need to get over slavery and all this other.
I didn't hear that, but
but
I have a certain feel about Akon.
But see, that's the thing about it. You get a small amount of immigrants, black immigrants, who come up here and make those comments talking about how we should live our lives, and then it outrages us. And then when we get to the conversation of reparations, we say, hey, y'all don't deserve it because y'all wasn't descendants of slaves.
Well, that, or it's simply get over it.
You know?
But I don't know. Charlene says, Gardis, could you clarify your statement about Caribbean slavery versus American slavery?
Right.
You make it sound as though one was easier than the other.
No, I didn't say one was easier than the other. I just said one was different from the other.
I think just because it sounds like, oh, theirs ended earlier, so everything else was all
I never
clouds
said
and,
I never said it was
I didn't
different.
say
I didn't say it was worse or better.
But I'm saying that's why I said about splitting. That was my conversation about splitting hairs, because they still had slavery too.
No, and I never said that.
That's why I said when people pick and say, is she African American just because of her father was from Jamaica, that does not change the experiences she has. That does not change the experiences that he may have had, even though I don't know who he is, and we'll never probably have an interview with him because they don't even talk about him.
Yeah, but what I want to clarify,
they talk about him here and there,
but they don't talk about like
they don't talk about
like no, they don't.
They don't talk about him much.
So when you're talking about, you don't know what the experiences are from a Jamaican person that may have grown up underneath what kind of tyranny or whatever like that, for them to even come over here, for her to be born in California, and you don't know what kind of racism or whatever they face because her mother is of
but I think
Indian descent.
I think it goes right into what they want, and I told you this is a right wing led message
splitting the hairs
of it being, oh well, is she black enough, and then it gets people to pondering, should I vote for her just for the sake of her being black? You've already failed. Right. Because the thing of it is looking at, and I got to all of those things to get to here, is how many people looked at her prosecutorial record, how many people looked at her time while she was on she's been a senator since 2017, how many people have looked at those things, that she was opposed to the legalization of marijuana in 2014. Now she has a different outlook, and now she's for legalization of marijuana. But in 2014, she said, I wasn't for it. If you look at her record of, it's a lot of memes going around that her and Joe Biden together have locked up more black people than anyone else, which is another thing of it's misleading, one.
It is,
and then it's misleading, one, and then if you make that kind of comment, you have to have the back end of everything that you say. And I say that to say, when she was the district attorney for San Francisco, and this guy actually got a $13 million settlement for him being wrongfully convicted of murder. He got a $13 million settlement, and it was Kamala Harris did it. Kamala Harris did it. Kamala Harris did it.
Her.
Well, she came to the big portions of the court hearings. Right. So when they set the date for sentencing, and when they made the final verdict, she drove in. But you want to say, this is my office. This is my office. I'm here. But you gotta play both sides.
Right.
If she goes in there and shows my face, and then when it turns sour, you can't say it's my office. So if you disagree with her because of those reasons, then yes, say it. But she's not being the district attorney of San Francisco, or being the attorney general of California. You do have that prosecutorial leniency to pick and choose what you want to charge or not. We see that with Kim Fox not doing very much.
And I was just about to say Kim Fox. I know.
But it's called prosecutorial discretion. And she falsely labels herself as a progressive attorney. she's not. She was considered the law and order attorney for California. And if you think about law and order, who says that all the time? Donald Trump. He always says, we need law and order, we need law and order. But again, the right makes it so that she's doing it, she's doing law and order, you guys look. And Democrats is like, oh man, this black woman is putting black people down,
and she locking black people up. She outside like the Wild Wild West.
And the Republicans are shooting guns to the sky. We got them again. So pay attention to her record as a prosecutor. Pay attention to her record on the Senate floor. Look at her trying to get. Look at her trying to renew and create a new anti-lynching bill with Cory Booker. Look at her trying to now do. She wasn't always for. Excuse me. She wasn't always for police reform in California. She wasn't for it, but now as a senator, she is. And it's just, I don't want to say it's what's convenient. What will what is the thing that will turn you away? What is your limit to? I don't want her to be my vice president. Because then you're looking at, is she going to be a prosecutor as a vice president? What is her venue being vice president? She will not. She's not going for. She's not going for attorney general.
No.
Yeah.
She's not going for attorney general. She's not going for attorney general. She's going for the vice president of the United States.
Yeah.
And I think it was a couple articles that I read about the vice president's kind of whisper in your ear to. They said Joe Biden got. Barack Obama to go for legalizing gay marriages. That was Joe Biden's piece as vice president. Dick Cheney got George Bush to go to war in Iraq. So a lot of people say vice president is a pointless position. You're number two. You don't really do anything. It's a tiebreaker in the president of the Senate. It's making those decisions because you travel more foreign jobs than the president does. The president goes for the big stuff. I almost said something different. But the vice president and secretary of state do those things for him. They do all of those jobs. So it's not a cool spot to be in. It's not a cool spot to go for. It's of importance. And what I want to say lastly, because it's 11:40, but want to say lastly about it is, again, the choice for me personally is Joe Biden for the simple fact of the people that he will put around him. And for the simple fact that who Kamala Harris will put around her. Because now another topic that we probably won't have enough time for is, what do you think about Rashida Tlaib voted no on the Democrat platform, and she also still voted for Bernie Sanders on her ticket.
Wow.
So it's just so crazy to me that I want everything I want now.
Yep.
And this is what kind of drives me crazy with Joe Biden is Charlamagne the God and Diddy, and I've talked about this previous podcast, but everybody's like, what's in it for the black people? And Joe Biden can come out now and say, like Kanye West, I'm going to give everybody that has a kid, I'm going to give $2 million to everybody that has a kid. Everybody's going to have free education. We're going to